Alright, well, we got another project here. The whole goal of this video is to really just see if we can get this thing running again. When I got it, I picked it up a week ago. The ignition had been cut and hot wired because someone stole this bike from a friend of mine, and basically they couldn't get it. He didn't care about it enough to spend any money on it because he would have to pay a shop, and it's only worth like $1,000 to begin with, so he didn't want to spend any money on it. So he sold it to me for relatively cheap, which is how I like to buy stuff, is cheap, so I don't have a lot of money invested in it. But I had to order a new ignition. What's funny is I took the ignition out of it to try to get a key made so it would match my gas tank and the helmet lock. But the locksmith I went to just ghosted me. It hasn't called me back. I've called him 4 or 5 times, left voicemails, text messages, trying to get it back so I can go to somewhere else to get a key made. Well, I guess it's a blessing in disguise because I managed to secure an OEM key barrel, gas tank lid, and helmet lock, all for, well, it's like helmet lock / seat lock, all for like $50, which is cheaper than what it was going to cost for him to make me a key. So I also, in the meantime, I knew I would need a battery because the old one was from like 2012 and ancient, so I got it taken apart. I haven't really looked at this bike. I mean, I pretty much just showed up to his house and said, hey, here's the money, help me load it on my trailer and we'll go, because I didn't have a lot of time that night to go inspect it. I should have looked further because I found out it had a salvage title and didn't realize that. But, I mean, aside from the dry rot on the tire, it holds air. The chain looks pretty good. The exhaust is pretty good. The seat's in good condition. The tank has a little dent here. And there's supposed to be a latch or something that I can open up to get that seat up, but I haven't even dealt with that yet. Chain looks in fairly good condition. So we will get started by first off getting the gas cap off, replacing this ignition switch, and getting that seat lock fixed and replaced with the new ones that I have so that all has a matching key. So I think first off what we're going to do is we're going to drill this out without trying to get metal shavings inside of the gas tank, because, well, you don't want metal shavings there. So let me get you set up in a stand where you can see, and then we will proceed on from there. So I got a 7/32 drill bit. I'm hoping my Milwaukee has the guts right now and this drill bit doesn't snap in there, because that would make it misery. The Milwaukees have been amazing bits for me. So just the fact that it went through it that easy makes me stoked. Because what happens is, once you drill it, it should just allow you to spin it off. I'm going to go up to a 1/4 inch now. Okay, so that, will it spin now? Nope, it will not. Set it up to size. There's the cap, just covers it. that spin now? Nope. I think I need to go just a little bit more. Next size up. Voila! That is a punched out. Ooh, man. That is some old gas in there. You can see I didn't go through, so no metal shavings are in the tank. I'm gonna get a rag real quick and wipe off. Wipe off the tanks, that way I know for sure no metal shavings will go in. Yeah, that's a nice and clean tank there. Let me, Alright, so I just realized I didn't have my microphone on, so the audio quality may not have been the perfect quality. Let's see if focus. So these are the star screws that hold the ignition on. They're called security torques. My advice is don't go seal bikes. That's just a poor choice. It's not good for your morals. It just isn't a good idea. So don't do that. But if you bought a stolen bike, or you bought a bike that had the wires cut, or your ignition is broken, you don't have a key for it, you lost your key, something like that, this is kind of how you do it. And there's a lot of different things that you could go about doing to replace it, like get a new key. You could fix the key barrel itself, so where you can just basically re-key it to whatever you want, but typically that requires you tearing it apart in some form or fashion. And to do that, you have to basically follow everything we're doing here, which is more or less just standard practice. There's nothing special to replace a key barrel. There's nothing special to put this back. It's just generic stuff. I did put some red Loctite on this because I do not want these screws backing out, and it looks like they had some on it beforehand. So we're gonna match what the factory did. I need to get a longer extension. So once I got it started, I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side and get that started. And then I'll go back and put torque on it and actually get these tight. Because you want to make sure your bolts don't cross thread, especially key ones that go into this type of criticality of items. Okay, I need a swap. Gotta get a swivel on there so I can get up into the bolt. Oh, come on. Well, I guess you guys don't need to see me fight this. I mean, I guess you can't even see me because I'm on this side of the bike. But, oh, there we go. Ha! It's like you put a swivel on it, tightens it up nice and neat. And I'm not worried about the cut wires because the cut wires on it are essentially like right here on the plug, on the new ignition barrel. So this is going to be just a little pigtail, essentially, which will be replaced with the new ignition that I have on hand. stripping. And these are typically some funky sizes of security torques, so you kind of just do what you can. I think they're like a 32, because this 30 fits it and the 35 doesn't. But you can strip it out real easy. And I just used some red high temperature Loctite to fix that. So let me bring you around the front where we can get access to this light bulb and get the wiring finished up for this, and we'll continue on. So I was just thinking, I don't think I actually said what this bike is. Oops, sorry, bumped you. So it is an 08 Suzuki GZ250, or a 250cc, basically cruiser bike that Suzuki made. Nothing special. I remember riding this bike when my buddy bought it like 4 years ago, because he was new to bikes, and I had a DR650, KLR, a couple Honda XR 150s, 125s, and stuff like that. And he wanted my opinion on it and whether or not it was a good bike to purchase. So I went with him, helped him find it and buy it, and kind of enjoyed it. I kind of wish I would get back into it, but the missus is not exactly a fan of motorcycles, which I don't blame her, since she's a nurse practitioner. She gets to see some emergency room cases that are not the prettiest. So I really don't blame her. But alas, I do really like riding. It's like a little zen moment when you can do that. So, look at that. That is perfection. And get that tucked back up there. Clean that off. Let's see, how does this go? That's upright. There's a little piece that it slots into up top. And then these two Phillips head screws that I removed a minute ago. Oh no, don't crack the fender. Oh no, I don't think that was like that. Yeah. I'm not crazy concerned with this bike because it's cheap and you guys are right in my way. I can't see. I'm sorry, I have to move you. Or I have to get in your way. I'm gonna have to move you out of the way for this one, so. Give me a second. Rather than watching you guys shake, I just moved you. These are so much better than old Honda buckets that have like there are 1,000 individual pigtails, bullet connectors or something like that, that hold all the wires together. And then they have two screws that are completely like the hardest things to line up. I mean, if you ever worked on like a Honda NC50 or a Honda ST70, CT70, CT90, any of those types of bikes, you'd realize like quickly, oh crap, how bad these are. So I'm kind of happy with how easy that was. I guess we got one more key to replace, or keyed cylinder to replace, and then we are going to move on to, I guess, putting a battery in it and cranking it and watching it go. I don't really foresee too much else besides maybe cleaning the carburetor, which would require dumping the gas, because that's rank. But I'm gonna first see what happens and get this other key installed, because I want to have blocks. So I'll bring you back when I get set up. All right, so looking at the new one, it's got basically the ignition or the lock here and a cable actuation to the seat post, and then it's held in position. Oops, sorry, showing the camera here. So my thought is, on this one, if I can detach this like that, I can pull the ignition switch off, and then that seat will come right up. Oh, cool. Looks like it's got a jump back in here. Ha! That's dead. But neat. That's a nice little jump back here. All right. And we got some fuses. That's a telltale sign. Something's gone wrong. Looks like I need a 15, or sorry, a Phillips head. Oh, you're not even looking. Come on. Let's aim you up a little higher. There we go. I need a Phillips head to remove these 2 screws. And then I should be able to slop that guy back in place. I don't think this is gonna do us any good. So, how about we just zip tie it? Zip tie it to like that. Yeah, that'll be fine. It'll work. Let me bring you back when I get a Phillips head. Alright. I just went ahead and zip tied that up. Ran the nice and neat. Screwed it in. And while I was in here, I don't know how well you pick this up. There's a whole bunch of Bussmann fuses. There we go. Much better. Whole bunch of fuses in there. Looks like a bolt, a wrench, and more fuses. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean that out so I don't have rattling fuses, rattling equipment while I'm riding this. Neat! Here, let's go to the workbench. Plug that in hopes of it arriving. I have low hopes with it. Let's see what was in our little mystery box. Alright. And give me a second. Shaking hands. Looks like we have a variety pack of fuses, a wrench, 17 and a 14, a spacer, a bolt, another bolt, some old cedar tree. Yeah, it looks like we got plenty of fuses now for the shop. All right, well let me put you back in the stand so I stop giving you guys headaches, and then I'll get the battery set up and installed, and we can see, well, does it even crank over or spin? Because I have yet to even figure that out.